You know, after seeing this film, I wonder how I would have received it if I saw this in chronological order with the rest of the MCU films. But let's talk about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my movie review for Black Widow. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me that thumbs up and consider subscribing. So guys, if you've seen my channel before or if you subscribe, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. These are my most favorite films to go see in the theater, even though I watched this one at home on top of martial arts films. Over the time, I haven't been the biggest fan of Black Widow, but as time progressed, I started to like her character more and more, not only in the comics, but the way she's depicted in the MCU by Scarlett Johansson. And when the trailers for this movie just started coming out, it looked better and better and better. When it was first announced, hey, we're getting a Black Widow movie, I was like, really? Can we spend our money and resources somewhere else? I would rather see more characters. But when the first trailer dropped, it looked great. And after seeing this film, I'm very happy they made it. Now, this is being directed by Kate Shortland. I am not too familiar with her work, but here is her filmography right here on IMDb. If you are a fan of her work, please let me know down in the comment section below which projects she's done in the past that you are a fan of. But I'll go ahead and say right now that she did a great job. But before I get any further, let me tell you what this one is all about. A film about Natasha Romanoff and her quest between the films Civil War and Infinity War. So the first thing that I really did like about this film was the intro, the beginning. I love the backstory that they gave us to help develop Natasha's character, Black Widow's character. I don't want to say what year or location it took place because this is a non-spoilery review, but it had a lot of substance to it and added to her character and just kind of help explain where she comes from and why she moves and thinks the way she does today in present day. And so I love that right there. It was very adventurous. It was very intense, and a lot of people say this, but I'm going to be honest with you. It kind of had me at the edge of my seat on my couch. I was leaning in like, oh my gosh, you know, what's about to happen? I hope the good guys succeed, whether it was a good guy versus a bad guy. But it was very adventurous, like I said, and it was also something that we've never seen in the MCU before. I don't think they've ever opened a film like this, and that is something that I really did appreciate. And when we get up to present day, we get to see Natasha as Black Widow. And like I said in the synopsis read, this is taking place right after Captain America Civil War and right before Avengers Infinity War. And when we see Infinity War, we're kind of saying to ourselves, okay, when we first see Black Widow and Captain America, like, okay, we can tell that they were up to something, okay? Just the way they're moving around, you know, they're hyped up, you know, where have they been? What have they been doing? And this film right here, as far as at least Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, Natasha's concerned, it does fill in that gap. It does fill in that hole, and it fits perfectly within the timeline. I mean, it is a seamless transition, and that's kind of why I said at the very beginning of this video, like, I wonder how I would have received this if we got this Black Widow movie right after Civil War. It's not a bad thing that we got it afterwards, but even though I did appreciate this film, I think I would have loved it that much more if we would have got it in that chronological order. But like I said, it fits perfectly within the timeline. She's on the run. We get shots of William Thunderbolt Ross, and you know, who's eventually is going to become the Red Hulk, hopefully, in the MCU. And yes, we can kind of tell that it is obvious that they did use some type of de-aging technology to make him look younger. It is kind of obvious. It doesn't ruin the film for me. I know that people have kind of complained about that in other MCU films, specifically Ant-Man. It was noticeable, but it didn't ruin it for me. And I like how they handled that portion as well. Another great thing about this movie that I loved is while this has more of a serious tone to it, there are some funny jokes, and none of the jokes are corny at all. One of my complaints with the MCU is it is very funny. Half the time they make great jokes. It's not shoehorned in or anything like that, and it flows. A perfect example is the Wakanda battle in Infinity War. When Thor and Groot show up and he's like, I am Groot, I am Steve Rogers. That was hilarious to me. And it was just, an organic moment. And if you know the MCU, you get the joke knowing that that's how Groot talks, but Captain America doesn't know that. You get what I'm trying to say. That was perfect. But other examples is like in Avengers Age of Ultron, when they're having the ending battle, when Hawkeye is about to shoot one of the drones, and what is his name? Quicksilver runs by and he's just like, they're doing a little joke like this and so, oh, I can just shoot him. Nobody would know. Or when Doctor Strange is in the mirror about to go take on Dormammu and his little cape messes up his superhero moment and starts rubbing his cheek. That's not funny to me. That's corny and forced and kind of ruins a superhero moment. There are no moments in this Black Widow movie where the superhero moment is ruined. I like how they handled the jokes. It's not like laugh out funny, but you're going to get a few chuckles there and it fits. It still has that serious tone to it. And I love the way the film made fun of, or the jokes made fun of, the MCU and pretty much all superhero comic book movies. I don't want to spoil it for you here on exactly what they did and said, but I like that a lot. And so I got to give I'm giving one thumb up, 2 thumbs up right there, in the writing department for handling the jokes and the humor very well in this movie. And also, guys, I love the family dynamic that we got in this as well. We've heard Black Widow say in the past in the MCU that the Avengers is her family, but now we get her original family too, with all the other Russian agents and the Red Guardian and Milena and all of them and all the other widows. I like that a lot. It just adds more to her character and just explains again, like I said, why Natasha moves around the way she does in present day from where we saw in all of the previous films. It's a very caring and touching film, and the score in the background does help complement everything and bring it to life, and I love that. I did not anticipate that we were going to get this much love and emotion in this film for Natasha Romanoff. I didn't even think she had those type of feelings, within her body, but she does, and that comes out, and it just makes her character, that much more great. I mean, if they can just do this with Black Widow, they need to spend this amount of time on every other MCU character as well, because I just like the way they handled her here and developed her character more than we've known in the past. And also, we have to shout out Miss Florence Pugh. I have never been a fan of her work. I don't know much about her, but I know she's very popular amongst other fans of movies out there. She did a great job in this as well. We know that we're going to see her in the Hawkeye series that comes out later this year, and that makes me very happy because she did a great job in this film. She did just as great as Scarlett Johansson did in this. Now, some people are kind of complaining, saying that, okay, hey, she's taking over the spotlight of Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow. That's what some of the early reactions were saying last week, or, when the press junket was over. I completely disagree with that. I don't think that she hogged the film or took it over or anything. She has just as much screen time as Scarlett Johansson. And she didn't, boss hog or anything. I mean, I thought they had a good amount of screen time and a great amount of character development, and they just did a great job with her character. And so I don't have any complaints there at all. I have no complaints at all. I mean, she does a great job. We know that, well, if you don't, she may be the new Black Widow, okay? Some people still haven't seen Infinity War and Endgame, but she may be the new Black Widow, and I will say that I am 100%, perfectly fine with that. I also have to give David Harbour some credit as well. Now we know him from the Suicide Squad, I believe, and also Hellboy. And am I correct there? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Hellboy and the Suicide Squad. I thought I was tripping. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw him in the trailer, he looked cool. He was okay. I know he's like the Russian version of Captain America and all that good stuff. But I was kind of saying he kind of seemed kind of goofy in the trailers, in the marketing material. And I was like, okay, I hope this is not too corny. I hope they're able to pull it off. They were able to pull it off. He did a great job there. We could have got a little bit more fighting from him hand to hand, but he did do a great job, and so I really can't complain there. I just wanted a little bit more, but he did do a great job. Also, Rachel Weisz, who is also part of Natasha's family, Black Widow's family, she did great too. And I am not too familiar with her work as well. If you are familiar with her work, just a good amount, please let me know if you're a big fan and what you think about that all below. But she did a great job, and I am not, I'm not bilingual. I am not a Russian expert and know how the accents are supposed to sound. In the film, all of the accents sounded great to me. I liked it. It wasn't jarring anything. I know that's something that some people complain about when they're talking about a film, whether they liked it or not. Like, oh, the accent was off. I don't know how a proper Russian accent is supposed to sound. Only time I know what it sounds like is on movie and television. And so if it's accurate or not, I don't know. But it sounded good to me, and I liked it from all of the players, all of the people in this family here. And so I got, a great job there as well. And I just got to shout out Miss Shayna West. I didn't even know she was in this movie. Okay, I really didn't. I follow her on Instagram, and I have for a couple of years, 3 years now. She's the Black British self-taught martial arts actress or performer that, she has a big following on Instagram. She's the one that put her hands down and did the little thing right here with the knives, and she's really skillful and throws the knives and does like bow staff movements and katas and stuff like that. Apparently she's in this movie, and I got to go back and watch it because I want to see her. But it was, a couple of Black widows in this that, and if you see the film, you know what I'm talking about. And I just got to go back and figure out which one she is. But shout out to her because she is in this film, and I want this woman to win. Seriously, I want her to win. And so she, I don't know. I can't say she did a good job because I didn't recognize her, but I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But shout out to her right there as well. All right, so let's get over to, I guess, one of the villains or antagonists of the Taskmaster. If you are familiar with the Taskmaster in the comics, you know that this person is a badass fighter. They can mimic and mirror. All they have to do is just look at somebody for a short amount of time, and they can completely mimic and copy their fighting style. So it's kind of like you're fighting a mirror or something like that. The presence of Taskmaster in this film was dope as hell. I loved it. They was coming through this thing like Terminator, just wasn't playing no games, wasn't kicking ass, taking names, all that good stuff. I absolutely loved it. The fight choreography was stellar. This person was smooth as hell, could jump, could leap, could fight, could throw, could shoot, could do all of that. You know what I'm saying? I was a little bit afraid at some points in time, like, damn, they are just ruthless and don't care. I mean, no F's are given at all. There was a car chase sequence in this film that has to do with Taskmaster chasing somebody. Think of the car chase scene in Captain America Winter Soldier when Nick Fury was trying to get away from the SHIELD/Hydra agents in Winter Soldier. That was a dope ass scene right there. I mean, this scene is kind of like that, slightly different and maybe a little bit better, but it's just as intense. The only thing I may like about the Winter Soldier car chase scene better is that it's Samuel Jackson, and Samuel Jackson is great at anything, and we care about his character so much. I care about Samuel Jackson's character more than the character that I do running from the Taskmaster in this chase scene. But as far as how the scene is put together, the way it's choreographed and just the intensity, man, it is just as good or if not better than that Winter Soldier scene. I just cared about Nick Fury more, so I was more emotionally invested. But again, Taskmaster is a badass, okay? I liked it a lot. Now, they did reveal who is behind the mask, and I'm okay with it. I'm slightly disappointed, to be honest with you. It makes sense as far as the story that they were trying to tell, but at the same time, I don't know how comic book accurate it is because I'm not an expert on Taskmaster. I do hope that we get to see more of the Taskmaster in the future. I would hope so. If we don't, that would be slightly disappointing. And the way the film ended, I just don't know if we are. We couldn't. I'm not saying if the character lives or dies, but I hope we see more. And again, kind of like David Harbour, David Harbour's character, the Red Guardian, while we do get good amounts of fight scenes from the Taskmaster, I wish that we could have got a lot more. And just the fighting overall in this movie is nice. Okay, that they are doing some nice hand-to-hand combat, weapons, and all that good stuff. I mean, I loved it. While I was watching this movie, okay, so we get Black Widow right now. The next next film that we're going to get in the MCU is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. If you heard me talk about that film and all my reactions in my past videos, I've always said that Shang-Chi needs to be one of the best martial arts movies that I've ever seen in my life. The reason why I feel that way is that if you can have a great movie, and there's a ton of great martial arts movies out there, I'm just naming this one because it's recent and also popular, The Raid and The Raid 2, The Raid Redemption and The Raid 2. Those films are made for less than $5 million each, and the hand-to-hand choreography is dope as hell. And so with Marvel, with $140 million plus production budgets, you should be able to, give us good fighting choreography as far as that's concerned. So those are my expectations. But when I was watching Black Widow and the way they was breaking down in these fights, I was like, okay, this is the latest MCU film. If they're able to give us these great hand-to-hand choreographed martial arts films in Black Widow, that does give me faith that they're able to do the same thing, if not better, in Shang-Chi. It should be better because that's just strictly kung fu and all that stuff. But that's what I was saying when I was watching the movie. Okay, hey, if it's that good, and if they're able to hire choreographers and fight stunt people and all this for Black Widow, they damn sure should be able to do it in Shang-Chi. And so that kind of made me more excited for Shang-Chi and excited for this movie right here too. Now also, guys, it was something that was just really dope. You've seen it in the trailers where when Black Widow is falling from the sky, free falling, and they're fighting and shooting in the air and all that. That was dope as hell. The only thing I regret is I probably should have chose to see this movie in theaters than watch it at home. But of course, I ain't trying to get no COVID or nothing like that. Even though we got masks, I had an option. I wish I would have seen that in theaters. If you have this is going to be released on Disney Plus Premiere, and also $30, I believe, and also in theaters. If you have a safe area where you're not on top of somebody in the theaters, please sit in the theaters, because that ending scene, with them flying in the air and shooting and fighting, it was badass. It was nice, and I enjoyed it at home. And I think the experience would have been that much better in the theater. Now I will go ahead and get to some of my gripes. I have two. One of them is it seems like Scarlett Johansson of Black Widow may have taken the super soldier serum, because there was maybe 2 or 3 instances where I'll just say she, the brutality against her was very intense. And I was like, you probably should be dead by now. Like, I don't know how you just survived this explosion, but you're just a normal human being. And I don't understand how you survived that explosion. I do not understand how you survived this car crash. Not only did you survive it, you were just able to get up and walk away. I wasn't buying that. That was very annoying. And another thing is, I like the story and the plot in this film. It was great, and it does fit perfectly within the timeline, just as far as the sequence of events. But when you wrap up everything behind the scene, you kind of wonder how the rest of that will fit into the MCU, because they just have this red room right here, and I don't want to spoil anything. I just kind of want to say, okay, I'll have to see this again, because from everything that we know about the MCU, Shield and Nick Fury, and as smart and intelligent as he is, Tony Stark, I'm having a hard time grasping how no one else with all this power and authority knew about the red room. It could be explained. I could be overanalyzing it. It's not that's a complaint. I just have a question mark over my head that hasn't been fully answered yet. I could have blinked my eyes too many times when I was watching this, and I wasn't able to pay attention. But it's not really a gripe. I just need that answered. I need them to flesh that out a little bit more. And so I just don't want them to abandon this story point right here and never come back to it again in the MCU. They left it open. It is quite of a loose end that can be tied off later. I mean, that's fine. I mean, this is a universe, but not really a gripe. I just need that question answered. So my only complaint is I kind of wish we would have seen more of Taskmaster fighting, even though the portion that we did get, this person is badass. And Natasha, it was just 2 or 3 instances where I'm like, wait a minute, how are you able to walk away from this? How are you still alive? You know what I'm saying? You probably should be dead. But other than that, guys, I really did enjoy the film, and I will give my rating towards the end. I don't want to do a ranking right now of all 29,000 MCU titles. But guys, that is just my opinion, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give me that thumbs up and subscribe, and also click around here for my Shang-Chi coverage and also all my other coverage on this channel as well. And if I had to give Black Widow a rating out of a 1 out of 10, I'll give this film a 9 out of 10. Yes, a 9 out of 10. But guys, again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. And also, I'll be coming back later for a spoiler review as well. So make sure you subscribe for that too. Peace.